Hey, how you doing, everybody? Okay, um, welcome to this train wreck that I'm calling My Vapers Place Live TV. My name is Joe. I'm the proprietor slash everything that you can possibly think of here on My Vaping Place. I have a I have a channel on YouTube, and well, let me see if I can do this here. Where is it? You'll have to excuse me. I'm like going crazy here. Um, this is the first time I'm doing this, and I am really trying to see how to set this thing up. So you'll have to excuse me if this thing is like a little bit crazy here. Right now, what I'm doing is copying out some of my information so I can put it up here into the chat window. And let's see. Do. Okay, that comes out. Yeah. All right, so, okay, bear with me. This is, yeah, this is a little bit crazy here, so I'm trying to get this thing up, set this thing up here so I can put all this info in here. All right, let's, oops, sorry about that. I had it muted. Okay, you should be hearing me now. Yeah, I had it muted while oh crap, that means I had it muted when I was playing the intro. Okay. Yes, there I am. Yes, there I is. So, yeah, this is the inaugural train wreck of My Vaping Place Live TV. Um, I'm planning right now on doing this maybe a couple of times in the near future to see how things go. Um, at least once, maybe twice, to see how things work out. Um, I'm going to try to do it like on um, a Sunday afternoon here, Eastern time, which would be approximately, which is 13:45 hours right now, Eastern time, which would be approximately 5:45 over in the UK, or 17:45 hours over there, UK Standard Time. So, well, it's 17:53 now, but I tried to start this and I want to do it at about 17:45. So, yeah. Um, yeah, I know. All right. Stop heckling me, Dot. I could ban you, you know. Uh, yeah. So, uh, I have no, um, I really have no content on this right now. Yeah, I love you too. Um, I have really no content here. I was just basically going to put this up to see how it works and see if this thing actually looks halfway decent, see if anybody even responded. I did put it out on Twitter. I put it out on Google Plus. I put a thing up on my Facebook and see what happens, just to see how things are going. When I look over this way to my right here, I'm basically looking at my tablet just to see if the stream is still up. Tudo News. How you doing? I'm really bad at doing names, so you'll have to excuse me. I don't mean to mangle your name there too much. Nice graphics you got there. Welcome from up north. How's the weather up there, you guys? Well, I'm trying to check myself to make sure it's still going. Okay? Thanks, love. Um, Tudu, what you're seeing there, Taylor Kusha, that's my cousin from living over in the UK. And she just came in here to heckle me. She's one of my biggest fans and hecklers, too. So, um, yeah, at least I got two people here. Welcome to the show. Like I said, was saying earlier, this is the inaugural broadcast, the first one. And I'm planning on trying to do this thing at roughly 13:45 hours on Sunday afternoon. Try to do it every week, but right now it's this one and maybe one more just to see how things work out. Hopefully we'll turn around and I'll get a good enough response off of this thing to be able to run it again. So I guess I'm just gonna go with the usual format that just about everybody else uses around this place. And what I'm vaping on here is a K-Fun 4 clone in long mode with a stainless steel 28 gauge 2.5 millimeter coil in here. I tried trying using the 28 gauge stainless steel to see how it works, because I'm a little bit tired of having totally pitted up, messed up, gunked up coils and everything else like that, and having to change them out every 2 weeks or so. Uh, and that's on a MVP. Not MVP. The iStick 50 watt, and I'm rocking that at 16.5 watts. So, yeah. Yes, I am rambling. I told you I have totally no content here. So this is going to be totally impromptu and off of the cuff. So if you don't like it, tough. Um, yeah. So I was thinking about doing a little bit of juicing here, but the way my desk and everything else is set up right now, with all this stuff, I don't know. I think we might have scared them off. Him, her, I don't know. Toodles, you still there? Or did you take off on me? I don't know. Well, looks like it's just you and me, so we'll see what happens. So, yeah, like I said, I have absolutely totally no content right here other than what comes in over the chat and whatever I decide to ramble on about. No, it's not snowing here yet. Um, they're calling for it to be coming in later on this afternoon. Let me take a quick look at my phone here and see if I can get one of the radar maps up and actually see. No, it still hasn't even gotten anywhere near South Jersey. I'm just looking at the radar map right now. And it's starting to show up a little bit down in Cape May, which, in case if you don't know, I know you know, but I'm also recording this thing so I can put it up on my YouTube channel. For those of you people out there who might not know, Cape May is pretty much the southernmost point tip of New Jersey. I'm in northern New Jersey, not too far away from Newark. About, I'd say maybe 20 air miles from New York City. And right in the heart of the northeast portion of the great state of New Jersey. So, the juice I'm using is what's left of my Lotta Latte. Oops, holding in the wrong spot. I forgot I moved my camera so that way I'd be looking when I'm looking at the monitor here to be able to read the chat room. I would at least be looking in somewhat in the same direction as the camera. So yes, you know I can read your mind, Dottie. Yeah, this juice, all the juice that I vape is DIY juice. I don't get in juices from vendors and stuff like that out there. My channel is still too small. It's been almost totally overlooked by just about everybody. So the juice, I'm a cheap SOB also, so what do you mean you think you better run and hide? Oh, yeah, okay. Uh, like I was saying, uh, most of the juices that I do, because I'm a cheap SOB, are my own DIY juices, and this one here is a 70 VG 30 PG. It's using the flavors from One Stop DIY Shop called Lotta Latte, plus a couple of other things in there. Well, thank you, Dot. Appreciate that. So if doesn't look to be anybody out there, I'm looking to see. Well, it says that there's 6 people here. Well, not here. 6 live viewers and no hearts and 84. I'm still trying to get used to what these symbols mean at the bottom down here. No, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm liable to screw it up. Okay, so I don't know. Yeah, like I said, the only thing I can think of right now is my coil that I've got here. Oh, I do have some news though. Um, I got notification through my Facebook yesterday that Vape, the Chinese company that makes these, the Vape Mini and the Vape solder tank. Let me get it on the screen there. Yep, that's the solder tank. That's that big sub-ohm tank. They're coming out with a new tank that they're still trying to name, and I am going to be on the beta testing crew for them, which gives me early access to the tank, and they just want to know what my thoughts are and everything else, and there's no restrictions on excuse me, No restrictions on putting up video reviews and stuff like that on it. So yes, the solder tank is a big tank. It actually has 3 coil heads in there. And each one of those coil heads are dual coils, which means that it actually has 6, count them, 6 coils in there. That is a big mucking tank, and it is a juice hog. But if you you also have to watch what you're doing with the VG PG ratio with that. If you use the standard coils that come with that tank, you can use a 50-50, maybe a 60-40 juice with it. But if you're using anything more than that, it takes a good long time for the tank for the ceramic wicks that are in there to actually get fully saturated. They do have what they call high VG heads that you can purchase for use in that tank, and they work very, very good. Those high VG heads will take up to an 80 VG, maybe even a max, quote, max, close quote, VG, which is usually about a 90 to 95% VG juice. It is a cloud chucker. It is a cloud chucker. It is a sub-ohm tank that is designed to produce massive amounts of vapor, and it does it very, very well. Yes. So I will be getting a copy of that sometime in the near future. When I do get one of them, I will turn around and I will put up a YouTube video, a first look at it, basically do an unboxing of it on a YouTube video and post that up there. I will not be doing a review on it for at least 2 weeks, a week and a half to 2 weeks after I get it, because I really want to put this tank through its paces and see what it's got. And because the folks at Vape are sending this to me free for the purpose of review and beta test, they have a right to know what's going on with their tank, and for me to give them a report on what my feelings are about the tank prior to me actually putting it up on YouTube. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to turn around and put up what I've actually experienced with the tank, but they do at least have the right to know what's going on with it, so they can turn around and make their engineering changes. After all, that's exactly what a beta program is all about, to work out the bugs, the initial bugs and stuff like that on it. So yeah, that's the good news from yesterday. So I don't know. Well, according to this, there's 7 people watching this. So, well, there's 7 people here that are showing up live. So I don't know why nobody else is showing up or even logging in. Because whatever you're seeing is going to be totally driven by comments and stuff like that that are showing up in the chat window. So yeah. Yeah. What can I do now? What can I do here? I'm feeling a little totally lost here. Because I have no content guidelines or anything like that that I made up for myself. So, and I was hoping there'd be at least a few more people showing up in the chat here so they could ask some questions. and can turn around and do something like that, but I don't know. Well, you know what? One of the things I was going to be doing for my next video on YouTube was to basically do a coiling. Yes, this is what happens when you do spur of the moment shows. Yes, you're absolutely correct, Dottie. So what I'm going to do now is I'm basically going to, since I'm going to be putting this up on my YouTube channel as well, I might as well turn around and just sit here and do a little extra content that I was going to do initially for my next video. I just got this in recently. You'll have to excuse me. I'm still trying to get used to this camera and how it angles. This is stainless steel 316L. It is 28 AWG, American wire gauge, which I think equates to a 0.34 or 0.38 millimeters, something like that, metric wire. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how I do some things, how I do some of the coils and stuff like that I set up. As I said in one of my previous YouTube videos, one of the things I like to do is I like to sit back, and when I'm watching TV sometimes at night and I notice that some of my coils, because I keep my coils over here in a little fishing tackle box, so that way when I need to get coils and stuff like that, let me show you what I got in here. That is my, oops, yeah, there we go. Those are the coils that I keep. That's the ones right down here. Those are Canthol coils. They're basically 6 wraps on of Canthol A1 28 gauge on a 2.5 millimeter coil form. Now, I just made a new coil for, ooh, this thing's getting a little on the low side here. I'm going to have to fill it soon. I just made a new stainless steel coil for this thing. And when I started trying to wrap the coil for this, the first coil that I did was basically the same coil that I wrapped normally using Canthol, which was roughly 6.5 turns of the 28 gauge, but I did it in stainless instead, on a 2.5 millimeter coil form. That was usually giving me about a 1.2, 1.3 ohm coil that I was using in here. That's with the Canthol. With the stainless steel, that would have come out to a 0.6 ohm coil. So 6 wraps on a 2.5 millimeter coil form would give me about a 0.6, 0.7, somewhere around there, ohms coil. Now, that's just a little bit too, shall we say, low for this child to play with. So I went over to Steam Engine and tried to do, hey Khalid, what was the RTA you were building for? KFun version 4. You're seeing it right here. This actually has it in here right now. It's it's a clone, but it's in long mode. So what I tried to do was I sat down with Steam Engine and did some work, and it turns out that in order to get a decent non-sub-ohm coil, I actually have to go to a 3 millimeter coil form and I have to do about 10 or 11 wraps of the stainless steel, which isn't too bad. There's enough room in there to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this. This is a clone of the Curo Concepts, Coil Concepts. As you can see, it's the 3mm format. So like I said, what I do normally is I sit down while I'm watching TV. When I notice that my coils are getting low, I'll sit down and I'll just start wrapping some coils. So basically that's what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to show you what I do and how I do it. Now, I did have a ohm meter that I used to use when putting in my thing, putting in new coils and stuff like that, and actually doing the coils, which is the way you're supposed to do it. However, the ohm meter that I had basically self-destructed on me. Yeah. It was a nice little ohm meter. It had a built-in battery and everything else in it, so built-in little LiPo pack, did voltages and everything else. It was really nice. It was called the Cube. But when I started getting no readings and stuff like that on it, and I went in there, I took the back off and I looked inside. It was held together basically with hot glue. And I have not as yet had a chance to go in there and fix it up. So what I've been doing is I have been, since I'm a computer / electronics tech, what I've been doing is I've been using my handy dandy digital voltmeter to check the resistances on all the different coils that I do, that I make up, prior to putting them into my into the fishing tackle box for later use, just to make sure that they're in the right, in the right ohm range. Then when I turn around and I put it onto the build base of the Addy, then I would just pop it on there real quick and just check to see, to make sure that I don't have any shorts or that everything is tightened down and everything else. So the one that I'm using in here right now is 10 wraps on, this is on a 2.5mm coil form. And right now I'm getting exactly 1 ohm, 4 volts at 16.5 watts. And that was not carved. That was just straight, direct to lung, no, like I said, no carbing. So, since this is the only content that I'm going to seem to be having here, I'm just going to sit here and just going to do some coiling. I'm just going to move the camera down here so you can see what I'm actually doing as I'm doing it. Yes, that's my keyboard that you're seeing there. Let me move this out of the way. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to take about 8-9 inches, maybe close to a foot. Don't need that much of the stainless steel 316L 28 gauge American wire gauge. Just take it off, try and straighten it out as best as you can. I'm sorry if I don't keep this on. Yeah, it does work very well, Khalid. Works very well. A lot of people think that K-Fun 4s are strictly mouth to lung. Now this is a clone, so it's not exactly your regulations Vomesto K-Fun 4, but it is an exact duplicate. It's a one-for-one clone of it, except for the packaging and the fact that it was put out by EH Pro, and it was put out in their own packaging, so it's not, I don't consider it to be an exact one-for-one clone. So everything that you can get, all of the different kits and stuff like that that you can get from actually Zvomesto will work on this Pro clone with no problems. As a matter of fact, the center chimney that's in this, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it through there or not, but the center chimney extension for this is actually a Zvomesto extension. The reason for that being is I got the original long mode for this thing from Zvomesto. It cost me about 14 bucks. And I had it in here. Now, that comes without any kind of safety guard or anything like that for it. It's just the plain glass. It looks really nice. It's really beautiful. The only problem is don't drop it. What happened one night is I was going to bed and I put it down by the side of the bed and it went crash like this. Glass broke, juice all over the place. Not a happy camper. Okay, see you in a little bit, Khalid. Yeah, do not drop it. Yeah, exactly. So glass broke and everything else. So I went over to the Fastech website the next morning to look to see if they had any replacement glasses, and I noticed that they had long mode kits, and they had these long mode kits that have these steel cages on them. So I picked up a few, and there's one on this. I have one on this one. That's my stainless steel baby. I have another one sitting in my little box up here that I have for, where is it? Yeah, for this one. But I keep this one in the short mode, the M mode, so that way as going out and about. And I picked up a couple for Dottie. I'm going to send them across to her. It's Taylor Kusha in there, by the way, just in case you don't know. So, where was I? Yeah, okay. So, everything that you use in everything that you can use on this, yes, you. So, everything that you can use on a real 100% genuine Zvomesto, you can use on these clones. So whatever works on here will also work on a genuine Zvomesto K-Fun version 4. So to get down to what I was going to be doing, so I don't sit here waffling around too much, in case you don't know how to do this, in case you're new and you've never done coiling before, well, this is how you do it. On this particular version, you see that little hole that's there? That matches up with that hole that you see right there. Okay? Basically what you do is you take your wire and you push this in through the hole here on the mandrel side until it pops out. There you go. Now you can see it there. It comes out the other side. Now when you're doing it for a K-Fun version 4, you only want to put about a centimeter, maybe a little more than that sticking out, and then you just press that down against the body and hold it into place. Once you do that with the wire sticking out here like so, you take your cap. Now as you can see on here, there's a 1 and there's a 2. The one that you're going to be using the most is the number 1, because this is the close in coil. This is used for thin wire gauges. If you're going to be doing something like 22, 20, stuff like that, you know, fencing wire basically, you would use the number 2 section here because it gives you a little bit more room when you're actually wrapping the wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, put this cap, the hole there in the center goes down over the mandrel like so, and what you're going to do now is you're just going to turn this cap. This cap, every time you pass the wire here, is going to be one turn. So what I'm going to be doing now, this is a 3mm inside diameter for the coil, and we're going to do 11 wraps. Now, the one thing that I do when I'm wrapping coils is I always add one extra wrap. I call it a give back wrap. Because no matter how good you are using this thing, that first coil is going to be totally messed up. It's never going to be exactly right. So what I do is I add that extra one wrap on there to allow me to give it back. And this way, that one wrap takes up the messed up wrap, if it makes any sense to you. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do one wrap here. That's the first wrap. That's the give back wrap. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now, if I were to let this thing go right now, this thing would spring back and I'd lose approximately a half a wrap. So you always have to push it a little bit past that. With Canthol, you have to actually go about maybe 2/3 of a wrap more before it will not spring back past the 11th wrap. But with the stainless steel being a little bit softer, approximately half a wrap more will actually get this to where it's supposed to go. So that's roughly what it's going to look like. Yeah, there you go. You can see it now. All right, so now we take this off and make sure that this, for K-Fun wraps, you're going to turn around, you're going to be doing the wire coming out in this direction and the top wire coming out in this direction. They're 180 degrees out. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift this wire up here, pull this off. Now, the next thing that I always do is I flip my coil over like so. Now, if you can see it, you see how crazy the wire looks right now? Let me just get myself a pair of needle nose here. What you do is you take this and you put your finger on the coil, on the mandrel, and you take off that one give back wrap, like so, or roughly it takes about a half a wrap. And then you take your needle nose pliers and you just tug on the ends of it, like so. That tightens it up on the coil, and you'll also see how you get that V shape on there. That when you get that, you know that that is a tight coil. You just bend this wire a little bit more like so, and that bends it right back into place. Okay? Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to clip these leads. If you're doing a K-Fun, all right, you don't need to have that much lead on here. So about a centimeter on either off of the coil is what you usually leave there. And I'm just going to take the excess off here. Doing this on camera is a little bit crazy. I'm not used to doing this. I'm used to having it up here in front of me like this and just doing everything. You just put that on there and just make sure everything is in place. Make sure the coil. Now, there is your coil. It's as easy as that. So if you've never done a coil before in your life, that's as easy as it gets. Like so. Now, next thing I do after I have that, to make sure that this is proper is I will take my voltmeter, my digital volt ohm meter, and I will put it into the ohms range just to test it out. Now, for anybody who doesn't know how to do this or doesn't have a meter, I'm not going to show you exactly on this meter how it works because every DVM is different. I do suggest that if you are going to be getting into doing rebuilding, even if it's on like a Pro Tank 2 coils and stuff like that, go out and get yourself a cheap little DVM. This thing here cost me, I think it was about maybe 10-15 bucks at the Home Depot. They're not that expensive and they're very easy to use, and they come with instruction manuals. You can also find instructions for how to use these things on the web just about any place. Okay? You don't have to go through electronic school and stuff like that like I did in order to turn around and learn how to use one of these things. They're really easy. And if you still do happen to have a Radio Shack near you, and yes, they still do exist. I was in one of them about 2 or 3 days ago. And they still have some of those instruction manuals that are available. They're a lot more expensive than what they used to be, but they still exist. Okay? So you can check that out. You can also check them out on the webs. There are plenty of books on Amazon on how to use digital volt ohm meters or DVOMs. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take one lead and I'm going to put it under. Well, that's because you're over in England. That's why, Dottie. All right. Put one lead of the coil into one of the little alligator clips there. You want to get it about halfway along the lead, like so. Then you take the other clip and you put it on to the wire, like so. And I always put it at a slight angle because these clips are big mucking clips and they sometimes don't make good contact. And then you read out what it reads. And as you can see, it's fluctuating between 1.1 and 1.2 ohms. So that is a good coil. And that would give me something that I would be able to put into my thing here and be able to make use of. Now, this is 11 wraps. 8 wraps on this coil mandrel, will give you roughly a 0.8 ohm. 6 wraps will give you somewhere around a 0.5, 0.6. Okay? So that's basically how you do it. There has been some controversy lately on the vaping media about dry burning coils from a chemist's standpoint of view, about how it breaks down metal and stuff like that. Well, when you take a brand new coil like this, and as you saw, I was stroking the wire and everything else while I was trying to get it straightened out. So that put oils from my fingers all over this wire. Now, if I were to put this directly into my atomizer right now, the way it is, and just start making use of it, all the oils from my fingers and everything else would be coming off in the first few toots. Not only that, but also you have to turn around and you have to bed this coil in. Now, most of the coils that I've been doing with the stainless steel have been working exceptionally well right like this. I pop them into one of my other build decks, and they work pretty much most of the times. They only need some minor strumming with your ceramic needle nose tweezers just to get the spacing and everything and work out the hot spots. But the oils from your hands, the machining oils when they make the wire and everything else, I'm sorry, yuck, I'm not doing it. So until I would never do this with titanium or with nickel, but with stainless steel and Kanthal and nichrome, I will. Pop it in, set up your coil. You don't need to burn it to the point where it's glowing completely, or just it's like a bright cherry orange, because the first thing you're going to do is you're probably going to wind up burning out one of your legs. Okay, you're probably going to have a hot spot on here, and it's probably going to be right here where the leg comes in and joins up with the coil, in which case you're going to burn out your coil in the first place. So you never get it that hot. You get it to a point where it just starts to glow like a very, very low cherry red, just enough so you can see the hot spots, and then you can strum them out or you can pinch them up. But as you can see here, from looking at this coil, if you do the coil the way I just did this, you don't have to worry about doing the compression and everything else. Most of the things you're going to have to worry about is just stroking it with your tweezers to loosen up the spaces between the coils, and then make sure that they're evenly spaced. Okay? That's pretty much the most that you're going to have to do with these things. And you don't need to have it a cherry red or orange red to be able to do that. A dull, deep, dark magenta red where it just starts to glow, where you can see this thing starts to produce light. That's great. That's as far as I would do it, and then just take it and strum it until you get to see no hot spots in there. So, yeah, that's stainless steel coil 101. And the big thing that you really want to do is that you really want to get, I really suggest this to just about anybody out there. Go down to a Radio Shack or to a Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, whatever your super big home store, big box store or something like that. Pick yourself up a cheap little ohm meter that will read down to like 0.1, 0.2 ohms. Down that low, those cheap meters are going to have a lot of fluctuation, but at least it will let you know roughly where it is. And it's better than having no meter at all. Anyone who does rebuilding should have an outside meter for testing your coils to make sure that they're not shorted out or anything like that, and to make sure that they're not shorted out when you put the housings and stuff like that on it after you do your build. Yeah, I have one, but it's in pieces right now. And soon I hope to get back in there and fix this darn thing up so that way it's usable again. But as of right now, I don't. That's the reason why I make use of the meter on here. Now, the meters on here are not, on most of your mods are not very accurate. Okay, they're not very accurate at all. They're rough ballpark. Now, when I put the test leads from that onto here, right now it's showing up as a 1.0. When I put on the test leads from that DVOM onto the coil to actually measure it, as it sits on the deck, it came up showing as a 0.99 coil. Now, 0.99, for all intents and purposes, is a 1 ohm coil. That's the reason why this rounds off. Okay? And you're going to find out that most ohm meters that are in your mods are going to round off the nearest digit. So if it's like a 0.99, it's going to show either as a 0.9 or it's going to show as a 1 ohm. Okay? However, the the mod manufacturer decided to, or the chipboard manufacturer decided to set the parameters in here for. So, all right. Pretty much that's just about it. Taylor Kusha, my love, and Khalid, thank you for coming on here and showing up today. I'm trying to remember the other gentleman's name that was in here earlier. Tudino's. I'm sorry, I'm really messing up names today. I'm not really good with names. Faces I'm great with, but names I'm lousy with. But that's pretty much the content that I have for today. And like I said earlier, yes, thank you. This is a totally impromptu, off-the-cuff first broadcast of this. Next week at 13:45 Eastern Time, I will do another one, and hopefully have a few more people in here in the chat room to be able to, have some more things going. So if you have any friends out there, do me a favor, let them know that I'm at least here. I know I haven't got the best personality in the world. I'm not the most bubbly person. Sometimes I even trip over my own tongue, but hey, this is me. This is who I am. So stop by, say hello, and we'll see what happens. And if things work out and if things start progressing, we'll see what happens. Maybe become a regular thing. So I also have another broadcast that I do on YouTube, through YouTube Live, with a buddy of mine over in England, over in Yorkshire. His name is Andy. He is the proprietor of Cloud-Based Vaping. You can find him on YouTube. We do, well, there's really no schedule on that thing. It's just whenever catch can. When his schedule and my schedule happen to coincide with some free time, and we really just basically want to sit back and BS with each other, we turn around and, we do a recording and put it up on YouTube to see what happens. So take a look on my channel and see what's there. If there's anything that's there that you happen to like, that you find interesting, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. If you like it, hit the like button as well. Oh, before I go, okay, I am going to reiterate this here. I have said this a couple of times before, and I will say this again. I am presently sitting at 57, 58 subscribers on my YouTube channel. When I hit 100 subs, I will be raffling this off. This is a genuine E-Leaf Limo 2. As you can see, it's got the scratch and sniff authenticity check on here. It is genuine. And this will be raffled off on my YouTube channel when I hit 100 subs. So if you want to get a chance to get your paws on that, get some of your friends, get them up. If they show them my channel, if they like it, tell them to subscribe, or they can subscribe if they decide to. Once I hit the 100, then this gets raffled off. So until next week at 13:45 Eastern, 17:45 UK time, 18:45 European time. My name is Joe, and once again, thanks for coming around, and hope to see you again next week. Take care. May the wind be always at your back.